Today we're gonna talk about how to make drones. So, drones or ambient sounds in general are one of the most important elements in almost every kind of media project. They work like a sonic carpet that set the moods or define the space of a specific scene. Could be a film, a game, or even a trailer. They are fundamental because they help that specific moment resonate with us and with our feelings. They can bring suspense, danger, adrenaline, or calm, following the emotions up and down, just like music does in a movie. And of course, they need to support the dynamics of the other sounds. Now, there are three main pillars for crafting good drones, and they are layering, movement, and special effects. I will build mine using three different layers. The first one is a Wavetable VCO, one of the best way to create evolving and morphing tones. Feedback loops to add noise, depth, unpredictability and randomness. And Granular Synthesis, my favorite one, to give those rich and full of detailed textures. For the movement, we're gonna modulate the filters, the morph of the VCO and a bunch of other stuff. As always, if you like this type of content, like and subscribe. Let's dive in. So this patch will be really simple actually. As I said, we're gonna use three different layers. The first one is a Wavetable VCO, the piston Honda. Wavetable VCOs in general are really good for crafting drones because you can morph between different waveforms and this help the movement inside the system. The second layer will be a feedback loop. I'm gonna use, of course, the Lotus VCO. And the last layer will be a granular processor. We're gonna use Arbhar from Instruo. So I will patch every sound source inside different filters. I'm gonna modulate the filters and the sound source itself. And this is the patch. I'm gonna include a PDF in my description. Really unluckily, I'm still waiting for my eurorack mixer. So for today, we have to mix everything inside the mix from 2HP. And since it has just a mono output, we're gonna create the stereo image at the end of the chain with the mimeophone, the delay, and the FakeSide Pro, trying different reverbs. So let's start. I'm gonna patch the two VCO from Piston Honda separately inside two different channels of a VCA, and this is because I'm gonna use the second VCO one octave below and I'm gonna modulate the volume just to have it sometimes, and this will create the first type of movement. I'm gonna take the mix out and go in the first channel of the 2HP mix. I'm gonna patch into the mimeophone, and with the stereo output we're gonna patch the mimeophone inside the FakeSide Pro, and from here I'm going to my audio device. So let's hear the first VCO, the different waveforms. And decide the pitch. We can crank up the FM. So this is the second one. And I'm gonna link the two VCO and I'm gonna use this one octave below. Before going into the mix, I'm gonna go inside the low pass filter and we're gonna cut off the mic harmonic. So if you add the reverb, you already have a nice drone. So to add movement, I'm gonna slowly modulate the axis of the piston Honda with really slow LFO. This is just one VCO. With another LFO, I'm gonna modulate the volume of the sub. can also get out from the distortion output. We can play with the resonance and also other parameters that add hyperharmonic. To give more harsh texture, we can play with the contact of the 100 grit. And for now it's just a wavetable going inside the filter and the effects. My favorite thing is to add reverb after filters. Here with the modular or in the DAW with Ableton is the same, because it creates some super nice timbre, like with the delay for example. You can also turn on the mode on Piston Onda. It allows you to use an external sound source. In this case, nothing is plugged, so it's gonna use the second VCO and it's gonna morph it inside the wave shaper. Okay, this is the first layer. Let's start with the second one. So if you don't know what a feedback loop is, it's really simple. It consists in split the output of a module and go inside the input again. One advice is don't let it unattenuated, because you can lose the control of the feedback. Say that in module like this, like Modular VCO, that is a sort of granular delay, you can reach feedback loops also without any inputs. Let's hear it. We're gonna take the output, go into the second channel of the mix. We don't hear nothing. If we increase the feedback, it's coming. The delay line are really near each other, and you still have control of the parameters, for example the sub-octave generator. Before the mix, we're gonna go inside the Belgrade. Let's start with the low pass. Reverb. This is the resonance. And you already have a soundtrack for a film. You can add the delay. So now if we mix the two sound sources together, what we can do is use the right output, since we are coming out mono, unlucky, but we're gonna patch it inside the input. But first of all, we have to attenuate that. I'm gonna do it with mats. And this is the amount of the input. In the Modular VCO, if you want to create the best feedback loop with the inputs, you have to go down with the core here. Two sounds together. Let's modulate the tone. What I really like in these situations is to try shimmer reverb. It really creates amazing soundscape. Just to be clear, this patch will be like a lo-fi patch. The resonance of the Belgrade is something amazing. Deactivating the external mode in the piston Honda, we will have more tonal sound. The sound that the Melotos is generating alone is awesome. My favorite parameters is the tone. I love to create sub-octave detuned sound. You can hear it. And this is just a feedback loop. Okay, let's start with the third layer. Let's patch the Arbhar on the third channel. I'm really sad to do it in mono, but today I have to do like this. I always use it in stereo because generating stereo grains left and the right is amazing for the space, but I promise the next one will be in stereo. So I deleted every recording here. We're gonna do it right now. We're gonna record 2 or 3 layers, and I'm gonna do it in a random way just to show you that with Arbhar, even if you record a click, you can come out with something amazing. It's amazing also because with the mod input, I'm not pretty sure you can see it. With this input, you can manipulate the amount of the effects inside, and they are amazing. There is the reverb, delay, the stereo image. As a sound source, I'm using Loqueli Kytheritas from Noise Engineering. It's right here. I'm gonna record 2 or 3 different layers, I don't know. Okay, the second one, I'm gonna do it with a microphone. You can hear the feedback. For the third layer, I'm gonna use my last module, sample drum from Erika Synth. We're gonna take... We're gonna trigger different random sample. Let's go on the first layer, that it was the Loqueli Kytheritas. With the intensity, I decide how many grains we are generating, the envelope of the grains. You can choose the length, so with a small amount of length we'll create this sort of lo-fi sounds. The best thing in Arbhar is that with this knob you can control the randomization of the pitch, and this one is quantized. And yeah, let's hear the first one. This is the position of the recording, but the best way for me is to go in the follow mode, and this will automate the movement inside the layer. You can go forward, in reverse. Let's hear it. You can also decide the pitch. I'm gonna use the channel 3 of mats to control the mods. You can still play with the microphone. Mix it with the other outputs. As you are hearing, this layer of 3 different sounds will give us 3 different tonalities. One is the high and ethereal part, one is the sub. Let's try to change layer. So in Arbhar, as we say, the best thing is this quantized pitch randomization, and if you can cap it, is another good thing is the dub control. It allows you to overdubbing. So right now I'm gonna whistle inside the microphone, and this will create this amazing tone. Let's add the other layers. With the sample and hold, I'm gonna modulate which layer is playing. Here. We add delay. With the microphone, you can also go in a sort of flange effect or comb filtering. This will create metallic textures. Let's try with another kind of shimmer. With an LFO, we can modulate the length of the grains. As you can see, it's going shorter or longer. And of course, we can just go inside the last filter, for example, Morgasmatron. It's an amazing dual filter. I'm gonna set it as low pass filter. So right now we are filtering all the layers. And since we have a shimmer at the end of the chain, this will create this nice hyperharmonic. So since we are filtering, everything that is coming out is just the low part. And what I really love is creating something inside that low section that will affect the effects. Because for example here, we are cutting everything, but if we crank up the resonance, you are hearing this nice texture. That's why I love the effects after the filters, because it creates a nice texture environment in the low subsection. It's really amazing. This will create a sort of harmonic correlation in the low sub part, and since we are using reverb, in this case shimmering, all the low harmonics will affect the final results. Saturated reverb. We can modulate the low cuts of 100 grit. Right now you are in an horror movie. Shimmer variable again. Let's crank up Arbhar again. Those are the high content texture that is creating, randomly playing different layers, subparts. So right now I'm using the low cut of the Morgasmatron to decide the amount of tension and dynamics. Remember, in a scene, the tension is determined by the high frequency, because with the low frequency you have more suspense, with the high frequency you start to have tension. It's like something is coming, you know? We are starting to hear more clearly the modulation of the filter. And of course the type of the reverb is really important, because it decides a sort of mood. Also the resonance of Morgasmatron is nice. You can also crank up the drive. Delay comb into the reverb. One of the best way to cut a scene like this is just take off the inputs with a little bit of dry wet. So yeah, that's all. I'm gonna upload the entire session in a WAV format in my Gumroad. If you like what I'm doing here with this series, like and subscribe, and see you in the next chapter.